You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot.
What difference at this point does it make? Mr. and Mrs. America turn them all in.
Hello, you have reached the show Hardcore Patriot with Alan Ray. Please stand by for yet another dose of American exceptionalism brought to you by the fine people of KLRNRadio.net. In the meantime, enjoy this wonderful selection by the band Little Feat.
Oh, yeah! You have no idea how good it feels to be back behind this microphone. No idea. Oh, my gosh. It's been 2 weeks. Of course, I took last week completely off. There was a wedding in this house, and it after months of planning, and then a month before the wedding, everything just fell apart. The caterer went bankrupt. We had to change venues. All of this stuff just happened. And then literally an hour before the ceremony, the weather decided they're just going to poop on us. And we had to move it from an outside ceremony in this beautiful little setting in an apple orchard with grapevines and vineyards all around, to this giant tent where we were going to have the reception an hour before the ceremony. Just woof. I had everybody organized, everybody ready. So when we decided to pull the lever and say, okay, we're going to have to move it inside, boom, 20 minutes. It was all set up, ready to go. The guests never suspected a thing. Ceremony was great. My daughter is now a married woman. God bless the newly married couple. I love my son-in-law. Okay. He's a great man. And that's the thing. He is a young man. He's not an infant in a young man's body like you see so much of today. He is actually a young man. And he makes me proud. He makes me happy. I like him. And I'm glad that my daughter chose him and he chose my daughter to begin a new life. I just, God bless them. I wish them all the happiness in the world. However, I took all last week off. I didn't do any podcasts at all, not even Circumspice the Right Side of Michigan, nothing. I rested. I relaxed. When I got back to the house, when I got back to the Hardcore Patriot compound, I didn't do much of anything. I had just had enough. And so I took the week off and I'm watching the news. I'm watching everything happening. I'm going, oh my gosh. We are just a few weeks before the election. And I'm not even going to shade it. All hell's breaking loose. I didn't have a whole lot of time to look at the news when I was, the week leading up to this wedding. I didn't have time to look at the news. I really didn't have time to put anything together. I'm backtracking everything, kind of keeping an eye on it. And I'm going, oh, wow, everything's falling apart. I could go 3 days straight, probably covering everything that you probably should know. And it probably wouldn't make a dent. Over the time I've been off, of course, we have had a presidential debate, which wasn't a whole lot of debate. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not going to shade it. I'm not going to be a cheerleader for anybody. Trump could have done much better in that debate if he would only have made a comment and let the dementia-ridden Biden just bury himself. The guy was thrown off. He was thrown off. He was having a good day for Joe Biden. But let's face it, folks, out of the last month, maybe month and a half, that he should have been on the campaign trail, should have been out there, getting people on his side. He has put a lid on his campaign at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and he's still doing it. Why? We want to know why. I know why. He's got issues. He has horrible issues. There's no secret at all. And then if you're a Democrat and for some weird reason you like to be tortured and like to listen to me harass you and beat on you, but if you plan on voting for Biden, you're not voting for Biden. You're actually voting for Harris. Kamala the Laughing Goat Harris. And she's a horrible person. She didn't even do good in the primaries. Nobody likes her. The black community doesn't like her because she arrests them and uses them as slave labor. That's who you're going to vote for. And I don't understand the rationale behind voting for Joe Biden. I don't know of hardly anybody. You have to be an absolute fruitcake to be excited about voting for Joe Biden. And I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. He literally has been part of the problem since 1973. I was 8 years old. 8 years old. He has got a track record. He has got, you could write his racial slurs and epithets on a roll of toilet paper and still not get all of them in there. He is single-handedly responsible for helping pass bills to lock up the black community. He's like a kick in the teeth to everything the Democrats have been screeching, yelling, protesting about for the past 12 years. He's like a kick in the teeth to all those people. How can you possibly be okay with voting for him? I don't think, something tells me they're not excited about voting for him. Something tells me that maybe they're not going to vote for him. I don't know. And I've been thinking about this long and hard. And I'm gonna sit here and pontificate for a while. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, I'm an expert and I know these things. I'm not. I'm just like you. I struggle with these things. What the purpose of this show is, I want you to leave knowing something you didn't know before the show. I also want you to get an idea in your head and maybe entertain that thought, entertain that idea, and be a better person for it. But I've been thinking about this a lot. And, you can't judge what's going to happen on election day by the polls. However, I want you to be prepared, dear listener, for the possibility, and it's a good possibility. I mean, you got to look at all of the surroundings, everything that's been going on for the past 4 to 5 years. I want you to entertain the thought that Donald J. Trump may not win this election. He has the media working against him. He has this insane, absolute crazy Speaker of the House just doing everything she can, having a meltdown like a little yappy dog that's barking at the postman, having a meltdown, trying to do anything that she can to derail anything he does. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment because it's going on as we speak. It's going on right now. Everything, according to the media, is stacked against Donald Trump. Of course, that is the dubious part of this whole thing, according to the media. The media has discredited itself so badly to the point that you really can't believe when they tell you, well, he's really down in the points. He's about where he was 4 years ago right now. I mean, if you remember right, in 2016, they gave Hillary Clinton a 96% chance of winning the election. Most of the places, most of the media outlets were saying she is ahead by double digits. She has definitely got this sewn up. It's just a matter of getting through election day and going on. That's what the media is all saying. Now, the actions of the Democrat Party, the actions of the media are kind of indicating that they see their numbers, they see the real polls, and they are afraid. Case in point, you got Nancy Pelosi, who, if you listen to the beginning of this, if you listen to the bumper music leading into this show, right at that little electronic dunk, 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 you hear her say, "Today we will make history." That's her right before she sanctimoniously and very stupidly, might I add, marched the articles of impeachment. Oh, yes, they paraded up. And they decided, we are going to put our heads up and march these articles of impeachment to the Senate, where the Senate looked at them and went, okay, whatever. Tossed them off to the side and said, yeah, the adults are busy. Run along, guys. Don't bother us. We got things to work out. You know, Pelosi's insane. She is going to invoke the 25th Amendment. The problem with this whole thing is she's on the fast track of just making a jackass out of herself once again, for all practical purposes. This is another arrow in her, quote, quiver, unquote, that they were talking about a few weeks ago. You know, when the whole idea came up that, hey, he's going to install another Supreme Court justice before the election. And she flipped out because, number one, she knows she has no power to derail this confirmation. None. She is a little yappy dog sitting on the other side of the fence. No way to get to the person that she wants to get to the most. She knows that she has to do everything in her power to try to derail this. And now she's going to do something no House of Representatives have done ever before in the history of the United States of America. And that's trying to pull this 25th Amendment crap on the people. How far do you think this is going to work out? How far do you think this is going to go? I don't know. This is 2020. You got to remember. and 2020 is weird. However, if she somehow succeeds on getting everybody to say, hey, yeah, okay, the president might have some issues, well, then Mike Pence takes over. And you know what Mike Pence is going to do the first day on the job? He's going to confirm the new Supreme Court justice. It says right on there, in case of the removal of the president from office or his death or his resignation, the vice president shall become president. And then he's going to nominate another vice president who will take office by confirmation majority. So, and let's look at this for a minute. Can we bring this up? 25th Amendment. And it's a lot to read on here. But Section 3 says, whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged to the Vice President as acting President. And Section 4 says, whenever the Vice President and a majority of either, whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such a other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Okay, let me read this again. Whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the power of his duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office of acting President. So in other words, Nancy has to go through the Senate. It has to be, kind of a universal, okay, yeah, everybody says he's crazy. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and a majority, of either the principal officers of the executive department or such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives that their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. So, the whole fight here is Nancy Pelosi has to have the approval of the Vice President. She has to work with Mike Pence. And at the very end of it, has to go through the Senate, Mitch McConnell. Now, what do you think the odds of this actually are going to happen? Pelosi is a yappy dog. She's an idiot. She's a drunken booze hag. She's been in Washington, D.C. way too long. And this is a Hail Mary pass. Let's face it. This is a Hail Mary pass to keep Donald Trump from installing a new Supreme Court justice. Amy Coney Barrett. She is freaking out. This is one of her arrows. The thing about it is I don't think she really has actually, I don't think any of the Democrats actually read the Constitution. I mean, they crap on it all the time. They wad it up and toss it in the paper basket all the time. I don't think they actually read it. So I have to pre-record this, and this is going down just before noon on Fridays, but, I'm kind of acting that it's Friday night. Trust me, I'm acting like it's Friday night. You have no idea. Anyways, I don't know if she's already done this or not, but she has gone nuts. She's gone crazy. This is a Hail Mary pass. And they're doing this on the premise that the medications that Donald Trump is using to get over COVID-19 are causing him mental anxiety. And they're going with the whole, for lack of better terms, they're going with the whole roid rage thing. He's taking steroids. He's taking steroids to keep to keep himself cleared up, to keep his chest and whatever, his sinuses, whatever, anything that this thing attacks. He's taking steroids to keep it in check. Okay. I have taken steroids a lot. I have severe allergies this time of year. I don't have to do it anymore, thank God, because, well, what I'm taking right now is considered a steroid. It is Flonase. But I have taken steroids for severe colds, severe impacted sinuses. Never in my life has it affected my mental ability to make a decision. That was affected years ago by other things. But she is going to try to sell this to the American people. It's a clown show. It really is laughable. I mean, and the funny thing about it is she will have the media behind her. She will have other members of the House behind her. Chuck Schumer will be up that way. Well, this is Chuck Schumer. And Nancy Pelosi is exactly right. Donald J. Trump is not mentally able to fill the office of president. Yeah, whatever. Jimmy Carter did. On Jimmy Carter's best day, I don't think he was mentally fit to be in the office. Now, he wasn't that bad. Yeah, I trash Carter once in a while. Carter made me the conservative that I am today. I can tell you that right now. I thank him for me being who I am. But after he left the office of the president, yeah, he's still a whack job leftist. But at least he does things that are good. I mean, Habitat for Humanity, he does a lot of humanitarian things. That's fine. That's good. As a human being, I respect that. His politics can just get wadded up and thrown in the garbage. His time as presidency, he created the Iran problem that we are dealing with today, right now. And if you bring that up to the left, and he didn't. Yeah, he completely did. The Democrats created what you see in Iran. And it wasn't just Carter. It goes back a long way before that. But I digress. And now we have to deal with the Iranian crisis. And then you flash forward and you got Barack Hussein Obama. He gives them a ton of money. He gives them all their money back. We froze their assets, did all this stuff. And before he leaves office, he ships them a plane full of money. Help fund more terrorism. Thanks, moron. These people are absolutely unhinged. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not a huge Donald Trump fan. But what I do appreciate about him, and I will vote for him in 2020. I really will. What I appreciate about him and what makes me laugh most about him is over the past 4 years, he has gotten these whacked out, extreme leftist Democrats to just throw themselves on their own swords. He's even gotten the established Democrats just going nuts, banging their heads on the ground, ripping their clothes, weeping and crying, doing stupid things like trying to invoke the 25th Amendment to get him out of office. He has them all going nuts. They've exposed themselves to America. We know exactly who they are now. We know exactly why they shouldn't be in power now. They're not right in the head. Them accusing Donald Trump of not being right, it's ironically hysterical. It really is. But just looking at the whole thing, looking at the big picture, We're only 20 some odd days out from the election. Less than a month. And she's pulling this 25th Amendment process. Why? There's only one reason. She is terrified of him leaving the Oval Office with a fully constitutionally bound Supreme Court. They say, well, they're all right-leaning. No, they're constitutionalists. And if that's right-leaning, okay, so that's right-leaning. I don't care. You want to call it that? That's fine. Whatever helps you sleep at night. You know, they don't always lean right. I mean, just recently, they made a couple of decisions that have gone against this administration. That's what happens in the Supreme Court. Once you're a Supreme Court justice, you let it all hang out. You don't get elected again. It takes something pretty profound to get you out of your office. And history shows, for those of you who have, gone to modern public schools and you don't get taught history, history shows time and time again where a president will elect a Supreme Court justice who turns against him. It happens. Could happen this time. We don't know. But that's history. And if you don't understand history, you don't study history, then you're going to fall right into the sheep category of freaking out, shredding your clothes, gouging your eyes out, screeching in the streets, like the rest of these Democrats do, because he is putting somebody in the Supreme Court who actually takes laws, takes things that are being done, takes cases, holds them up to the Constitution and says, does this pass the test of the Constitution of the United States of America? This is why the Democrats are so freaked out over him installing another Supreme Court justice. Because their whole goal, their whole mantra, their entire agenda is unconstitutional, and they know it. Everything they're trying to roll into this nation is unconstitutional, and they know it. Kamala Harris will sell us out to the United Nations. Guaranteed. Just like Barack Hussein Obama did. Oh, he didn't do that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Look at what he did. Right before he left the office, he signed us on to Agenda 2030. And I'm sorry, but George W. Bush has signed us into Agenda 2020. Agenda 21. Both of these agendas, and they're not going to come right out and say it, but if you read it, it hints that they want to control the United States of America. They want, and they come out and say this, fish around on the United Nations website, okay? Please do me the favor. They come right out and say they want global socialism. That means they want everybody equally as miserable. They want to take America down, boil it down to where, we're at the lowest common denominator. So everybody's equal. Socialism is stupid. It doesn't work. It fails every time. You look at Venezuela, you look at Greece, you look at all these places that are socialist. And even though they try to shine it up on the surface like a bright, shiny penny, you flip that penny over and it's just deteriorated. It's just completely covered in crap. That's socialism. I personally would prefer the government to stay out of my personal life, stay off my property, stay out of my bank account, stay out of my handbook. Especially the federal government. 2 jobs, keep foreign entities off of our shores, deal, with tariffs, deal with foreign dignitaries, deal with people trying to attack us, wanting to get rid of us, and then regulate trade between states. Anything beyond that starts fringing on scope creep. And if you don't know what scope creep is, it means doing things that you really aren't supposed to be doing. Scope creep in a business can be deadly. Scope creep in a government can be just as deadly. Why do you think we're $25 trillion in debt now? And if Pelosi had her way with her dunderheaded, stupid legislation she brought to Trump to sign, what was it, $4 trillion worth of crap? And most of it was things that had nothing to do with COVID-19. She was pushing an agenda. She wasn't helping the United States. And then Trump looks at it and says, no. Tosses it off to the side. Go back and get me a clean bill to help the American people. She stood right there and lied to me. Well, Trump doesn't want to help you. Morons, each and every one of them. My gosh, we have already come to the middle of the show, bottom of the hour. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got other things to talk about. Everything's going crazy. What can I say? Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to. Trust me. This is craziness. Pre-election insanity. I'll be back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
I hope if you're in the Louisiana area, you are taking shelter. I hope you get out of there. Don't mess with this thing. Hurricane Delta. When this thing breaks, it's probably going to be right in the middle of hitting the Louisiana area. Craziness. Don't mess with this stuff, guys. When you're told to get out, get out. You can't fight nature. Nature wins every time. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, I find it kind of funny. And Mike Pence did a better job. You know, if you watch the Kamala Harris-Mike Pence debates, everybody's like, oh, Kamala Harris won. How can you even say that? She never even answered hardly any of the questions. And it kind of makes me laugh. Neither Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, Harris, she's annoying. God help us if she ever becomes president. And if you vote for Joe Biden, she probably will end up becoming president. Anyways, Joe Biden once again and now it's kind of funny because Newsweek's getting involved. When Newsweek has to start coming out against Joe Biden's got problems. Says at a campaign stop on Thursday, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden once again refused to publicly state whether he supports packing the U.S. Supreme Court with more justices. But some Democrats are pushing for him to do so, even though he has previously opposed it. Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts recently urged Democrats to support court packing if Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell moves to confirm the President Donald Trump Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett. They're afraid of her. It's funny. And this is typical Democrat shenanigans. This is why I can't take the Democrats seriously. They can't follow the rules if they lose. Yeah, the first thing they do when they lose is they look around for a way to completely reconstruct. First of all, they illegitimize anything that makes them lose. Oh, that's illegitimate. We lost the election. It's a little illegitimate election. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Well, that's illegitimate. She's not supposed to. Now we're putting a new Supreme Court justice in. Oh, illegitimate. We got an illegitimate president. Look there. She's putting an illegitimate Supreme Court justice in. Everything's illegitimate, so we don't have to follow him. They're pathetic. Well, there's a psychological disconnect with the left. They do this all the time. So now, and the other thing they do is they look around and they go, well, because this is illegitimate, we have to fix it because it's not, quote, fair, unquote. Fair to the left means we didn't win. So this is unfair. We lost the election, so the election must be unfair. See, they don't learn when they lose. They look for ways to rig everything so they'll never lose again. And that's what they're doing with the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court's going to basically be filled with a bunch of constitutionalists. We can't have that. That's not going to promote our agenda. This shows you. And trust me, Biden refused to answer the question if they'd pack the Supreme Court. Harris refused to answer the question if they would pack the Supreme Court. They're going to pack the Supreme Court if they win. You see, they need to usher in their socialist, communist agenda. And this is going to stand in their way, not just for an election or two, for decades. Decades. If Donald Trump brings in Amy Coney Barrett, it will set their agenda, which is based on UN Agenda 2030, which is based on turning the entire planet into global socialism, which means America is going to have to be taken down to the lowest common denominator and all of its wealth stripped and redistributed throughout the world. It's going to set that back for decades, and they know it. This is why you're seeing the freak out. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was not supposed to die this close to the election. And some of the excuses they're using are laughable. laughable. And then Biden comes out and says, you'll know my opinion on court packing when the election is over. When the election is over? We are not going to know your stance on things until this, and I'm not the only one that says this. Everybody said this. When he came out with this, everybody went, wow, this sounds eerily familiar to, well, we had to pass the Affordable Care Act to see what's in it. This is hauntingly the same as that. Why would I vote for you, Joe Biden, if I don't even know what you stand for? He might as well come out and say, well, yeah, I'm going to do whatever my handlers tell me to do because I don't have the mental acuity to actually think for myself. And what's funny is if you actually study what's going on right now around the Biden campaign, the people that are closest to the campaign are already saying, we are going to push him as far left as possible. They know he's a mental infant. They know he has issues. They know he has dementia or something like it. And they're going to use that to shove him as far left as possible. At this point in the game, if he wins, he will be a meat puppet. That's all he is. Insanity. Just insane. And like I said, if you're, for some reason, you're a Democrat and you're listening to this show, how do you justify voting for somebody who has been in office since 1973, who has been the problem, the exact problems you are touting, the systematic racism that you are saying exists? He created it. You want to know what the systematic racism is? Yeah, I for one, I believe there's systematic racism. I really do. I really do. There's proof. There's evidence. Go through just outside of downtown Detroit. Go through Chicago. Go through Los Angeles. Go through New York. It's right out there on display. But the Democrats want you to vote for the very same people who created systematic racism, who keep systematic racism in place. And then they go around and they fool these people into voting for them again. They make them all these promises, but nothing ever seems to change in the areas where systematic racism is at its worst. Let's go over this for a moment. You have an inner city squalor. You have blocks upon blocks upon blocks of rundown houses, empty houses, houses where people are living in, where they've had to climb telephone or electric poles and hook jumper cables up to the power and hook them to the house at the risk of frying themselves in order to have heat to not die in the winter. These places are all run by Democrats. You think I'm lying? I'm talking about Detroit, hour and a half away from where I'm broadcasting right now. They've been run by Democrats for decades. And the idiots still vote for Democrats right back in. What have the Democrats done for you? California. They can't even keep the electricity on. They want electric cars. They want everybody driving electric cars. Gavin Newsom wants everybody in an electric car. And he can't even provide electricity. How do you justify it? Your systematic racism is this. They want you tied into the system. They want you on welfare. They want you on assistance. They want you sucking in free stuff. They want you addicted to the free stuff. You want to end systematic racism? Go to these inner cities and set up places where these people can get jobs and work their way into wealth. Yes, capitalism. I said it. You want to get rid of systematic racism? Get rid of the Democrats. Fill the entire government with people that say, look, you don't have to live like this. This is America. We're a free country. You can be successful. And then have these same people work diligently to get the government out of our way so we can be successful. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, try opening up your own business. I'm not going to go into that. The systematic racism exists because nobody goes into these schools in inner cities and says, look, you don't have to stay here. You can go anywhere you want. You can be as successful as you want. You may fail. That's reality. But you can pick yourself up again and again and again. You can try new angles. You can sit down and use that brain, that lobe between your ears, to figure out what you can do for society that helps society, and society will reward you for helping them. Some people have already done it. I personally know several people who have escaped inner city squalor and are doing great. Wonderful. I know several people just in this area who have escaped working in fields and hotels, which is, by the way, the only two jobs that the Democrats think Mexicans can do. They've said it. The bigotry of low expectations. Right down the road from where I live, 1.5 miles. I know it's 1.5 miles because I run that way every once in a while. Runners know mile marks. There's an immigrant family that came here from Mexico. They worked out in fields. And as a young man, that immigrant looked around, and he was here legally, looked around and said, I can do better. Guess what? He's got his own house down the road. I watch him and his kids out in the yard playing volleyball all the time. Smiles on their faces. Succeeding. Escaped the system. The best way to get rid of systematic racism is to get away from the system. You go around saying that, you're going to be labeled a racist. If that makes me a racist, well, I guess I am. I want to see the black race succeed. I want to see Mexicans succeed. I want to see everybody that comes to this country succeed. Beyond their wildest expectations. Does that make me a racist? I want the government to get out of the way so these people can succeed. If they need a head start, if they need education, give it to them. But that education, first and foremost, must include the knowledge that you can do and be anything you want. You want to live in this inner city block? You can turn this block into a gold mine. You can turn these 3 blocks of destitution into gold mines when you put your mind to it. If you go around changing the culture, telling people you don't have to be attached to the system, you can make money legally. That's what Trump's doing. You ever hear of these opportunity zones? That's exactly what that is. That's going into these places and telling them you don't have to be part of the system. The system is stacked against you. It really is. If you're a person of color and you're attached to the system, it's going to keep you down. That's the only way they can justify their existence, is to have victims. If you're one of the 7 million blacks living in poverty, they want you there. If you're one of the 14 million whites living in poverty, they want you there. They have to have you there to justify their existence. That's how the government works. That's how they turn these giant budgets over at the end of every year and go, we got to have this much money. Otherwise, people are going to die. You get off the system, you don't need them. Therefore, the systematic racism goes away. Is it easy? No, I've never said it's easy. I've only gotten half halfway to the point where I wanted to be in life. And now I'm on the downside. I don't think I'll ever get to where I actually want to be. I'm not going to say I'm not going to get to where I want to be. You look at the life of Colonel Sanders, ended up being a multimillionaire with his fried chicken. He didn't even begin to push it until he was in his late stages of life. Now he's a legacy. We got a couple other things going on before I jet out of here. Of course, if you watch the debate, you know that there was just a lie fest on the left. Harris says, we're not going to get rid of fracking. She's flip-flopped on that. They'll say whatever it takes to get into power. They will ban fracking. They will, the Democrats, make no mistake about this, they will ban anything that helps you with your life. They will sell us out to the Middle East again. We will be fighting wars for oil. They're talking with their actions. Listen to them. She even lied about the Honest Abe quote. If you watch this debate, which it wasn't nearly exciting as the Trump-Biden debate. You should have given Trump and Biden, they should have just given chairs, let them go at each other. Just bam! But the Harris-Pence debate, she went off on this rant about Abraham Lincoln. Harris claimed that Abraham Lincoln had chosen not to go ahead with the nomination in 1864 because waiting until the people had spoken in the presidential election was the right thing to do. They always go back. The people need to speak. The people need to decide. The people decided 4 years ago, you feckless idiot. The right thing to do happened in 2016. And until Trump is voted out of office or has gone 8 years, the people spoke, and we demand that he puts a new Supreme Court justice in court. So anyways, Pence, if you didn't listen to any of this, which I don't blame you, Pence asked her, are you going to pack the Supreme Court? And he gives her a history about it. And of course, with her snide, disgusting little face, she says, I'm so glad we went through this little history lesson. Let's do a little more. In 1864, Mr. Vice President, one of the, I think, political heroes, I assume for you, Abraham Lincoln, he was up for re-election. It was 27 days before the election, and a seat became open in the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. Presidential historian Michael Bechelos appeared to confirm Harris's story, at least with regard to the timeline. Says Harris is correct that when Roger Taney died in October 1864, Abraham Lincoln deferred a Supreme Court appointment until after the election so that the next president with a few mandate could do it. But while Harris was correct in stating that a Supreme Court seat was vacated 27 days prior to Lincoln's reelection in 1864, some people suggested that the reasoning she attributed to the 16th president for choosing not to nominate a replacement for Chief Justice Roger Taney was an assumption at best. PolitiFact cited historian Michael Burlingame, distinguished chair in Lincoln Studies at the University of Illinois Springfield, which is where Lincoln was born, suggested that Harris was wrong when she quoted Lincoln as saying he was waiting because going forward was not the right thing to do. I've never seen anything like that quote in all my 36 years of Lincoln research, Burlingame said. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich and several others also pointed that the Senate was not in session when Taney died. And Lincoln did appoint his replacement, former Treasury Secretary Simon Chase. The day the Senate returned, Chase was confirmed on that same day, proving once again that Harris is either a liar or extremely stupid. Embrace the power of and. Before I leave, I want to point one more thing out to you. You probably haven't seen this, and I can't believe that Newsweek actually came out and said this. Russian President Vladimir Putin has attempted to mark a positive resemblance between the Democratic presidential former Vice President Joe Biden and the Soviet communists in a wide-ranging interview with Russia TV channel, released Wednesday at the 2020 vice presidential candidates prepared to debate. The president said the Kremlin would be open to working with whoever sits in the Oval Office, despite the U.S. intelligence reports indicating that Russia is trying to undermine Biden the same way it did Democrat candidate Hillary Clinton, which we know now that the entire Russian collusion story was fabricated by Hillary Clinton. She lied. And not only that, Barack Hussein Obama put his blessing on it, which means that Joe Biden knew about it. Probably thought it was a great idea. Probably giggled like a little schoolgirl. I digress. Putin says the Democratic Party is traditionally closer to the so-called liberal values, closer to social democratic ideas, and it was from the social democratic environment that the Communist Party evolved. You have it from the horse's mouth. He says, after all, I was a member of the Soviet Communist Party for nearly 20 years. I was a rank-and-file member, but it can be said that I believed in the party's ideas. I still like many of these left-wing values. Equality and fraternity. What is bad about them? In fact, they are akin to Christian values. No, they're not. Your type of equality, your type of fraternity means you worship the government. And he admits, yes, they are difficult to implement, but they are very attractive nevertheless. Yeah, they lead to destruction. They led to the destruction of your entire nation, Putin. And now these morons, these Democrats, want to bring that communist crap here. So you've heard it right from Putin's mouth, that the modern Democrat is nothing but a glorified communist. And if you want to see what we've seen in Russia, in the former Soviet Union, go ahead and vote for these idiots. Liars, manipulators, they will literally destroy history just to push their narrative. That's what you're voting for. Congratulations. We're almost back to the top of the hour of this rant fest known as the Hardcore Patriot. I'm so glad you've joined me today. God bless you. We've been having fun. I can't even tell you how good it has felt to be back behind this microphone again. Oh, I've missed you. If I could hug each and every one of you right now, I'd do it. Not really. I'm not that people-y. I'm sorry. There's a few people I will hug. Most people, no, stay away from me. Anyways, keep listening. I intentionally did not address the attempted kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer because I want you to tune in Sunday night to Circumspice, the right side of Michigan. That is my live show that I do at 8 o'clock Sunday night. It'll be right here on KLRNradio.net/chat. Get into the chat room. Ask me questions. I'm going to go into detail on some of the things that I know about the wackos in this state that do things just like what was conspired against with Gretchen Whitmer. And I'm also going to let you know whose fault it really is, and it's not Donald Trump. Can't you wait? You're not going to sleep from now until Sunday night, are you? I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm exhausted. Didn't sleep last night worth a darn. Plus, I'm probably going to try to run 12, 13 miles on that blasted trail that I've got a half marathon coming up in 2 weeks on. I may not survive. None of this may happen. I may die out there. But at least I'll die happy, right? That's all you can hope for. God bless you. God bless America. Join me next week for I Do This for Free. Stay tuned for The Lost Wanderer with Jeff. It's going to be great like usual. The guy's really been stepping it up and just impressing the crap out of me. We will talk again soon.